Good morning, class. So for this video, I will be discussing about the copyright. This is for my class in SPAC in the subject Special Topics in Law. So, copyright. So, in our, sa batas, wala tayong mismong naka-define, no? Kung ano yung copyright. But may mga works na na-mention lang na protected ng copyright. So, may mga definition dito in the notes you can refer to. So, this one, author is the natural person who has created the work. Yan, collective work is a work which has been created by two or more natural persons at the initiative and under the direction of another with the understanding that it will be disclosed by the latter under his own name and that contributing natural persons will not be identified. There's also, basahin nyo na lang siguro ito, communication to the public, public lending, published works, and original works. So, basahin natin to, part na to. So, original works, and literary and artistic works, hereinafter referred to as works, are original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain, protected from the moment of their creation, and shall include in particular, ito mga nandito. So, sa copyright class yan, what distinguishes it from trademark, patent, and other intellectual property rights is that sa copyright, it involves original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain. And also, they are protected from the moment of their creation. Yan. And yan, ang example dito, books, pamphlets, articles, other writings, periodicals, lectures, letters, yan. Yan, dramatic or musical compositions, works of drawing, yan. Dami dito mga illustrations, photographic works, audiovisual works, pictorial illustrations, computer programs, and other literary, scholarly, scientific, and artistic works. So, hindi siya limited kung ano lang yung nakalagay dito. Basta, basta dun siya sa literary and artistic domain, yan, magpo-fall siya under copyright and other protected rights. So, yan. Halimbawa, kapag nagsulat kayo ng love letter, di ba? Yan. From the time na natapos niyong sulatin, yan. Kasi from the moment of creation, the moment that you created that, protected na yan according to law. Yan. Protected na yan ng batas natin. So, ang difference ng copyright sa trademark and sa patent in particular, sa copyright niyan, protected ka na from the moment of creation. So, dun kasi sa dalawa, from the moment of registration yun. Kaya meron, di ba, dun sa, sa trademark and sa patent, may yung concept na first to file. So, dito, yan, from the moment of creation. And if nag-composer ka naman, yan, the moment that you created the song, yun, protected na siya kaagad ng batas. Pero, yan natin, protection commences from the moment of creation, irrespective of the mode or form of expression as well as the content, quality, and purpose. So, kung ano ka na, kung protected ka na, no, from the moment of creation, bakit ka pa magpaparegister? So, ako kasi nagpa-register din ako. Pakita ko sa inyo yung, pakita ko yung copyright registration ko. Wait lang. Kukunin ko siya. Kasi ba naman, syempre kapag Oh, yes, protected nga siya from the moment of creation. Pero pag halimbawa nagkaroon ka ng conflict with other people claiming your work, 'di ba? So if pumunta kayo sa court, kailangan mo prove na ikaw pa din, I mean ikaw yung author niyan, you know? So ito, a sample of tong certificate of copyright registration na na-receive ko nung nagpa-register ako sa National Library. Yan. So, yan ito. Kasi ako, songwriter ako, so nagpa-copyright ako ng 3 kong songs dito. This was in May 2019. So, ano yung advantage nito? Bakit pa ako nagpa-copyright kung from the moment of creation, protected na siya? So, ito kasi, pwede ko itong gamitin as evidence, no? As evidence na, by that time, yun, ako, I am parang sinasabi ko na ako yung author nitong mga songs na ito. But then, kahit na nakapagpa-copyright na ako, copyright registered na ako, itong songs ko, it's still lang siya, prima facie evidence. Prima facie evidence of authorship or ownership. So, pwede pa rin itong maribat. Anong makakaribat sa kanya? Marirebat siya ng evidence proving the contrary. Kumbaga, kung may some other, di ba? Huwag niyo namang huwag niyo namang kontrahin yung copyright ko nito. Pero, if ever lang, di ba, kung merong evidence na magpapatunay na mas earlier kayo or na other person talaga ang author ng work na yan or ang writer ng work na yan is magpe-prevail pa din yun. So again, sa court na yan magde-decide kung yun, pag file kayo ng case and doon na yan i-weigh kung sino talaga yung yung author or owner ng artistic work or literary work. So, pinakita ko lang sa inyo. This is a prima facie evidence already. So, at saka din, parang as an owner of your work, 'di ba? Gusto mo na yung mo ng kumbaga, yung claim mo ng ownership, yung ownership mo is parang binabakuran mo din siya kahit papaano as much as you can. Yung yung work mo. So, kaya mo pa-register ka pa din. So, may advantage pa din. So, yun. And doon naman sa iba, kahit naman hindi naka-register dito sa copyright sa National Library dito, kung halimbawa sa court na, pwede kayong, ang tawag doon is yung affidavit kasi basta nag-ano ka ng affidavit and doon mo in-state na ikaw yung author ng a certain literary and or artistic work na ganyan. So, pwede din yun yung sa court na. Pero, masaya din may meron kang certificate, diba? So, register kayo kung meron kayong mga literary or artistic work. So, very simple lang naman. Ito, magkano lang naman yung nagastos ko? Parang mga nasa 114 na. So, maliban dito sa pinifill upan, nag-deposit din ako sa kanila ng CD, no? Na doon naka-contain yung yung lyrics, yung music sa kanta, yung MP3, and then yung lyrics nagprint ako. So binigay ko sa kanila. Ayan, inisyuhan nila ako after I think mga 2 weeks nito. Na-receive ko na itong copyright registration. Okay, so, kasi ako. Tapos balik tayo dito. Okay, so yan yung original works. Protection commences. Meron din tayong tinatawag na derivative works yan. So, like this one, dramatizations, collections of literary, scholarship, artistic works, mga pwede rin dito, papasok din dito halimbawa yung mga musical performances. Kumbaga, shall also be protected by copyright ito ha. Halimbawa yung isang kanta. Ngayon, syempre may yung songwriter nun protected na yun, 'di ba? Ngayon ginamit sa isang musical live performance. Yan. So naging derivative work siya kasi from a certain work, literary work or artistic work, yan. Naka-produce siya ng another work, which is yung alam mo yung musical production na yun. So doon protected, may separate right din doon yung singer, may separate right pa doon yung producer, yan. So maliban pa doon sa right ng songwriter itself ng song. So meron dito like this, dramatization, translation, adaptation, enrichment, collection of literary, scholarly or artistic works, ganyan. The above shall be protected as new works, provided, however, that such new works shall not affect the course of any subsisting copyright upon the original works employed or any part thereof, or be construed to imply any right to such use of the original works, or to secure or extend copyright in such original works. Right of publisher, meron din. In addition to the right to publish granted by the author, sa mga books naman ito, or sa mga writings, his heirs or assigns, the publisher shall have a copy, right, consisting merely of the right of reproduction. Yan. So, right of publisher, right of reproduction of the typographical arrangement of the published edition of the work. So reproduction is the making of one or more copies of a work or a sound recording in any manner or form. So what are works not protected? Siyempre may works protected, may works not protected. So naka-enumerate dito, yan. Any idea, procedure, system, method, or operation, concept, principle, discovery, or mere data as such, even if they are expressed, explained, illustrated, or embodied in a work, news of the day, and other miscellaneous facts, the character of mere items of press information, or any official text of legislative, administrative, or legal nature. Ito, sa mga batas ito, di ba? Any official text of legislative, administrative, yung mga, pwede dito mga, mga regulations ng mga government agencies. So, and dito din yung mga batas, di ba? Text of legislative or legal nature. So, hindi siya protected. Kasi yun ay mga public document yun, class. Yung mga yun. Okay? So, another example dito, yung sa works not protected. May case kasi before na sa Amerika na yung parang author siya ng isang book na dinediscuss niya ang double entry bookkeeping. So as accountants, syempre familiar tayo, 'di ba, sa tinatawag na double entry sa bookkeeping. So nung pina-copyright niya, basta ang question doon is yung mga lines ba pag nag worksheet ka, yung sa mga papers, yung lines, double entry, accounting, ganyan, or basta yung sa accounting ng mga lines, is copyrightable ba yun? Yun. So, ang sabi doon ng Supreme Court is, hindi daw siya copyrightable. Kasi mere lines lang siya, parang mere illustration lang siya. So, hindi siya copyrightable. Yung sa double entry. Baker case yun eh. I forgot the main. Basta parang Baker yung main word dun sa case. So, okay, let's proceed. So, works of the government. A work of the government of the Philippines is a work created by an officer or employee of the Philippine government or any of its subdivisions, including government-owned or controlled corporation as part of its regularly prescribed official duties. So, no copyright shall subsist, no copyright shall subsist in any work of the government of the Philippines. However, prior approval of the government agency or office wherein the work is created shall be necessary for exploitation of such work for profit. Such agency or office may, among other things, impose as a condition the payment of royalties. So no prior approval or condition shall be required for the use of any purpose, statutes, regulations, sermons, in courts of justice before in meetings of public character. Basahin nyo na lang itong part na to. So the author of speeches, lectures, sermons, address, and dissertations mentioned in the preceding paragraph shall have the exclusive right of making a collection of his work. However, the government is not precluded from receiving and holding copyrights transferred to it by assignment, bequest, or otherwise, nor shall publication, republication by the government in a public document of any work in which copyright is subsisting be taken in cause of any abridgment. Basahin nyo na lang itong part na to. Okay. So, ito importante. Economic rights. Economic rights, dating sa copyrights, shall consist of the exclusive right to carry out, authorize, or prevent the following acts. So, yun, as a copyright holder, di ba? Reproduction of the work or substantial portion of the work, yan, hindi pwede. Dramatization, translation, adaptation, abridgment, arrangement, transformation of the work. The first public distribution of the original work, original in each copy of the work by sale or other platform of ownership. Rental of the original or a copy of an audiovisual or cinematographic work, yan. Public display of the original or a copy of the work, public performance of the work, other communication to the public of the work. So, ang ano nito class, like for example is, yun, nag-create ka nga ng song. So, ngayon, if someone else uses your song, nag-upload sa internet, yan, ginamit niya yung song mo. Yan. And without your permission, no? So, careful kayo yung mga nagko-cover dyan. So, yun pa lang, no? Without your permission, yung owner na yan, yung owner ng song na yun, yung author, yung composer ng song na yun, is may right siya to claim royalties from you, yung when you use his or her work, no? When you uploaded it. And ganun din halimbawa yung sa mga restaurant, halimbawa, okay, yung mga CD or mga music, yung song mo, ikaw na songwriter, ginamit ngayon yung song mo ng isang restaurant, no? So, ginamit niya sa business niya. Pang music, ganyan. So, ikaw, may right ka na mag-claim ng royalties against that restaurant or against that person na gumamit ng work mo sa business, sa kanyang business. So, yan, tutignan natin. So, ownership of copyright shall be governed by the following rules. Work, an owner, original. Sahin nyo na lang itong part na ito. Sahin nyo ito. Okay. So, transfer and assignment of copyright. The copyright may be assigned in whole or in part, inter vivos, if there is a written indication of such intention. So, what do you mean by inter vivos, class? So, inter vivos here, it means na during the life of the composer or the author, yan, copyright may be assigned in whole or in part if there is indication of such intention. Submission of literary, sahin nyo na lang yan. So, right of assignee within the scope of the assignment or license, the assignee or licensee is entitled to all the rights and remedies which the assignor or licensor had with respect to the copyright. So, right of owner to accounting. The copyright owner has the right to regular statement of accounts from the assignee or the licensee with regard to assigned or licensed work. So, meron din dito, co-own, yung dalawa ang may-ari, no? Dalawang may-ari ng copyright. So, if two or more persons jointly own a copyright or any part thereof, neither of the owners shall be entitled to grant licenses without the prior consent of the other owner or owners. So, both consents should be obtained, okay? Before you can grant a license. Ito tayo. So, limitations on copyright, yan. The following acts, so 1 to 12, ang dami nitong limitations na to. I leave it to you to read this. So, bigyan natin ng example. So, ang example kasi dito, like yung, kung hindi mo naman, yung gamit mo lang is for private use, no? The reproduction or distribution of public articles in specialized formats. The recitation or performance of a work once it has been lawfully made accessible to the public. If done privately, yan, and free of charge if made strictly for a charitable, if done privately and free of charge if made strictly for a charitable or religious o institutions or society. Kasi, like halimbawa, yung work na yung gamit mo, yung halimbawa, song, di ba? So, yung song composition, ginamit mo siya sa isang charity event. Yan. So, maari siya na maari siya na hindi siya mag-constitute ng infringement of copyright. Kasi yun nga, like yung charity event, kung libre naman yun, so, or religious or institution or society, doon mo lang siya ginamit. So, maaring hindi siya mag-fall sa as infringement, okay? So, the making of quotations, ito, from a published work if they are compatible with the fair use only and to the extent justified for the purpose including quotations. Yan, isahin nyo na lang yung part ito. And then there are other more. You can read, you just familiarize yourself with this one, this 12. And the above shall be interpreted in such a way as to allow the work to be used in a manner which does not conflict with the normal exploitation of the work and does not unreasonably prejudice the right holders' legitimate interest. So, fair use of a copyright work. The fair use of a copyright work for criticism, comment, yan. Ito yung sinasabi na fair use. I think nakikita nyo rin ito minsan sa TV or sa mga other works. So, the fair use of copyrighted, yan. Pag yung copyrighted material, yan, ginamit mo lang siya for criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including limited number of copies for the classroom use, yan. Classroom use for academic or educational purposes, ganon. Hindi siya, is not an infringement of copyright. Yan. So, the compilation, which is understood here to be reproduction of the code and translation of the form of computer program to achieve the, yan, basahin na lang yan. So, ito. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is fair use, paano mo nga naman malaman kung fair use siya? Diba? The factors to be considered shall include. So, importante ito, class, ha? The purpose and character, ito. Purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is it for non-profit. So, yun yung purpose ng paggamit mo nung work. And then, the nature of the copyrighted work. The amount and substantiality. So, kung gaano mo ba siya kadami or, halimbawa sa isang libro, ilan lang ba yung ginamit mo? Isang page lang ba? Or isang quote lang ba? Or baka naman 98% ng libro ng libro, yan, ng work na yan, ginamit mo. The portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. The effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. So, yan yung mga factors na i-consider mo to determine fair use. So, read through this and familiarize yourselves. Okay? So, the fact that a work is unpublished shall not by itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all above the factors. So, yan. Meron din dito works of architecture. Yan, shall include the right. Basahin nyo na lang yan. Reproduction of published work. Sa works of architecture. Dito tayo mag-focus. Dito tayo sa... So, shall not be permissible to produce a volume for work published in several volumes or to those missing fine pages. Importation for personal purposes. The importation of a copy of a work by an individual for his personal purposes shall be permitted without the authorization of the author or the owner of the copyright in the work under the following circumstances. So, yan yung pwede ito, importation for personal use, di ba? When copies of the work are not available in the Philippines, yan. And then when such copies form parts of libraries and personal baggage belonging to persons or families arriving from foreign countries and are not intended for sale, provided that such copies do not exceed tatlo. So, ang gusto ko i-emphasize dito, yan, itong moral rights. Ito, the author of a work shall independently of the economic rights, di ba? May economic rights na tayo, or the grant of an assignment or license, with respect to such right, have the right to require that the authorship of the works be attributed to him in particular. The right that his name, as far as practicable, be indicated in a prominent way on the copies and in connection with the public use of his work. So, ito, yung pinakauna na moral right na pinapertain dito is the right of attribution. Okay? So, no, if gagamitin mo man, yung work niya, you have to attribute. Kailangan, kaya meron tayong yung reference eh. Yung pag naggawa kayo ng mga research, kailangan ilagay ninyo yung mga reference ninyo, no, to serve as an attribution na you have used the work of this following author or ganyan. So, and his name should be, as far as practicable, be prominent. So, kailangan kitang-kitaan. So, yun yung first is yung attribution. Yan. Second is to make any alterations of his work prior to or withhold it from publication. So, syempre, right niya yan. Kasi work niya yan. So, pwede niyang baguhin. Diba? Yan. Number 3, to object to any distortion, mutilation, or other modification of or other derogatory action in relation to his work which would be prejudicial to his honor or reputation. So, hindi niya i-stop yun kung dinestort mo yung work niya and because of that is magkakaroon ng dishonor sa kanyang name, di ba? So right niya na i-stop yun yung modification or distortion ng sa work niya. So number 4, to restrain the use of his name with respect to any work not of his own creation or in a distorted version of his work. So, syempre, yan. So, hindi, ito naman, ginamit mo yung pangalan niya. Ginamit yung, hindi naman ikaw, sorry. Ginamit yung pangalan niya, pero hindi niya naman talaga work. So, or yung work na yun is distorted version. So, 'di ba? Nakakapanirang puri yun sa kanya, sa name niya. So, pwede niyang i-stop yun. Yan. So, breach of contract. Kaya importante itong moral rights class, ha? Basahin niyo to ng gusto, itong moral rights. So, breach of contract. An author cannot compelled to perform his contract to create a work or for the publication of his work already in existence. However, he may be held liable for damages for breach of such contract. So, yan. So, meron din tayong tinatawag na waiver of moral rights. An author may waive his right mentioned above by a written instrument, but no such waiver shall be valid where its effect is to permit another to use the name of the author or the title of his work or otherwise to make use of his reputation with respect to any version or adaptation of his work, which because of alterations therein would substantially tend to injure the literary or artistic reputation of another author, and to use the name of the author with respect to a work that he did not create. So, meron pa dito yung mga, sahin nyo na lang ito, mga rights of performers. Kasi sabi ko nga, like, halimbawa, yung kanina yung sa example na binigay ko, diba, yung sa music, diba? So, okay, nag-compose ka ng kanta, and then, for example, gagamitin yun in a musical performance. So, may rights doon. Syempre, may right ka as a songwriter. And then, may right ka din, may right din yung performers. Yan, may right din dyan yung producer. So, yan. So, basahin nyo na lang itong part na ito. So, duration, yan, meron dito sa moral rights of performers, 50 years after performer's death, yan, by his heirs and in default of the governmental protection, yan, is claimed. Additional remunerations, rights of producers, producer of a sound recording, yan, meron din silang rights. Ang dami kasing klase, ang daming iba-ibang form ng copyrights and yung mga related rights nila, kaya tawag. Sila producer, sa rights of a broadcasting organization. Basahin nyo na lang itong nandito. Okay? So, dito tayo sa term of protection. So, sa general, yan, during the life of the author and for 50 years after his death. Yan. Life of the author and 50 years after his death. This will likewise applies to joint authorship. Economic rights shall be protected during the life of the last surviving author and for 50 years after his death. And anonymous or pseudonymous works. 50 years from the date on which the work was first lawfully published. And basahin nyo na lang ito, works of applied arts, photographic works, and yung mga life nila nandito. Calculation of term. The term of protection subsequent to the death of the author shall run from the death of his from the date of his death or of publication, but such terms shall always be deemed to begin on the first day of January of the following year, of the year following the event which gave rise to them. So, copyright infringement, yan. A person infringes a right protected when one directly commits an infringement. Benefits of the infringing activity of another person who commits infringement if the person benefiting has been given giving notice of infringement activity and has the right and ability to control the activities of the other person. With knowledge of infringing activity induces, cause, or materially contributes to the infringing conduct of another. So class, balikan nyo yung nandun sa IP code. No, tingnan nyo doon yung mga penalties sa infringement. Meron doon. So, I leave that to you. So, it's part of your research as well and as part of your study. Um, your study in this subject matter. So, yun yung tandaan nyo sa copyright. Yan. It is protected from the moment of creation. Yan, may mga moral rights, may economic rights, mga importante bagay dito. So, hanggang dito lang yung i-discuss ko. I leave this to you to read, for you to read and try to understand. So, yan, isi-stop ko na itong video. So, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you do well in your exams. Okay. So, God bless you.